Over the last several decades, a series of rulings from the New Hampshire Supreme Court have defined and refined the state's obligation to provide a constitutionally adequate education to our children and to do so with a fair tax system. This short video explains those rulings and the state's responsibilities in detail. There are two provisions of the New Hampshire state constitution that govern our state's school funding system. They both have been in the Constitution since it was written in 1784. The first says that our state is required to provide a constitutionally adequate education to every public school student K through 12 in the state. And in a minute, I will talk about what constitutionally adequate means. The hint is that it's not minimalist, it's broad. The second provision is that the taxes levied to meet this duty must be uniform in rate across the state. And the New Hampshire Supreme Court in the Claremont cases has refined these duties and, in a sense, set an agenda for implementing them or operationalizing them. The court said that the state must define an adequate education, it must determine its costs, it must fund it with constitutional taxes, and it must create a system of accountability. First of all, what do we mean by constitutionally adequate education? It's a broad definition. It's an expansive definition. It's future-oriented. And the court explicitly said that mere competence in reading, writing, and arithmetic is not enough in the 21st century. Instead, the court is looking at exposing our kids to a broad range of the areas in school that they need in order to be successful competitors in the local economy, in the state economy, in the national economy, in the global economy. So it's things like technology, health, world languages. And the touchstone is we want our kids to succeed. We want them to have the skills and the knowledge to succeed in the 21st century. That's what the court means by constitutionally adequate education. So one of the things that the court said was that it recognized that this duty would play out differently in different districts, that what was needed in some districts is different than what's needed in others. For instance, in some rural districts, transportation is more of an issue. In some urban districts, English language learners. In many districts, poverty may be an issue. So the state is required to have a statewide standard, but it's also required to tailor its aid to fit the needs of local districts. And one of the things that the court said was the definition of adequacy and the obligation to fund it are completely connected. Whatever the state defines as adequate, it must pay for. And it can't take into account the local wealth or poverty of school districts or anything else. What is the state's duty is the state's duty in terms of paying for it. We get to the question of revenue, well, how to pay for it. And the court has really made clear that that's a legislative function. And in particular, the court was very explicit about the property tax. If the legislature decides that the property tax is the way to raise money or raise most of the money or some of the money, the tax rate has to be the same for that tax across the state. And that was one of the key holdings of the Claremont case and one of the holdings that the state has struggled to meet. We have great constitutional principles. We need to bring them to life. You can reach us by phone, by email, on the web, and through Twitter. And we encourage you to contact us. We are interested in making these presentations around the state. So please reach out to us, and thank you very much.